Welcome back to our Halloween franchise overview. I'm Cinema Kane, and today we're going to be talking about Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, and Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Now, the first thing I want to say is this. My last review, I spoke a little bit harshly of this particular trilogy within the overall franchise. And in this case, I mean what I'm saying, because in this case, literally, these three films make up a trilogy, because they're the Thorn Trilogy. I'll explain that as we go. Revenge of Michael Myers, or Return of Michael Myers, Halloween 4, a lot of people say was the film that brought the Shape back. I tend to agree. For those of you who don't know, the Shape is what they called Michael Myers in all of the Halloween scripts, at least in the original. The Shape refers to the fact that he wears the blank mask and, is the personification of evil, but in human form. Halloween 4 is a good film. It's a good entry in the series. I do, in fact, think it is probably the fourth best film in the series. The chemistry between Ellie Cornell and Daniela Harris as the foster or adoptive siblings of Jamie Lloyd and Rachel, absolutely perfect. I absolutely think their chemistry is note perfect, and that's why I think that Halloween 4 works as well as it does, is because without the four of them working together as well as they do, it doesn't work. But then you bring back franchise royalty in the form of Dr. Sam Loomis, played by the great, late Donald Pleasence. Donald Pleasence was a force to be reckoned with in the Halloween franchise. He made 5 of them before he passed away. And I think that the Van Helsing-like relationship where Loomis is chasing Michael Myers is, again, part of what makes Halloween 4 work so well. Halloween 5, which, let's just go on and bleed into Halloween 5, because I'm as great as Halloween 4 is, Halloween 5, not so much. Halloween 5 suffers a little bit, but not because of the lack of Dr. Loomis or the lack of Jamie Lloyd. It suffers because, for one thing, I really feel like they shouldn't have killed off Ellie Cornell, Rachel in the first 20 minutes of Halloween 5, because Halloween 5, at least to me, is one of those movies where you're watching it and you feel like there's something missing. And after having just watched Halloween 4, you realize, after maybe your second or third viewing, that what's missing is that sister-like protective relationship. Because while Dr. Loomis, an older gentleman in his own right, is doing his best to protect her, the idea of the sister protecting her from the previous film worked a lot better. And you didn't feel like Jamie was nearly as vulnerable in Part 4 as she was in Part 5. Now, what's interesting, and I brought up the fact that I called this the Thorn Trilogy, right? Apparently, the actor, I want to say in Halloween 5, that played Michael Myers, had a thorn tattoo on his wrist. And the filmmaker saw it and said, you know what, we can do something with that. And then they gave us an ending in Halloween 5 where a man in black busts Michael Myers out of prison and kidnaps Jamie Lloyd. I say out of prison, out of jail, and kidnaps Jamie Lloyd. And they basically said, we'll let whoever makes Halloween 6 figure that out. That's part of the problem with this movie. You could tell there was no real plan other than, we're going to cut up teenagers. That's fine. I love a good slasher, and let's face it, that's what a lot of them are. But if you can also have story and plot behind it, it does make me care about the characters more. And I don't really care about any of the characters that Michael Myers goes after in this movie. Halloween 4, there's a slight exception to that, because they spent enough time in Halloween 4 to build up those characters and make me care about them. but not enough time in Halloween 5. Now, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Wow. Okay, where to begin? So there are two versions of this movie. One is very readily available, and it's just called Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. The other, you used to have to get at like fan conventions and on the black market. Because, why? Because there was a producer's cut that preceded the theatrical cut that is readily available. And the producer's cut is miles different. At least in my head, I'd say it's miles different from what we got. And the reason it's so different is because the producers had one idea of how they wanted the film to go, and the studio had another idea of how they wanted the film to go. Studio, of course, always wins. So that's what we got. We got a film that is a generic hack and slash that tries to connect to the original Halloween, and it tries to connect to Halloween 4 and 5, and it tries to be as good a movie as it can be. And it mostly succeeds at being a slasher movie, and unfortunately the final appearance of Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis. But it also gives us a young Paul Rudd, who was going by Paul Stephen Rudd, and this is his very first movie, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Now, as far as the producer's cut goes, well, you remember that thing I was telling you about how we were going to get the ending of Halloween 5 explained with Halloween 6? Yeah. They decided to do that by having a druid cult trying to make Michael kill his entire family for some purpose that is never truly explained or given. Like, basically to make him like some sort of killing machine, I guess. I don't know, but it's not very well explained. And Halloween 6, regardless as to which cut you watch, the producer's cut or the theatrical cut, you're going to be in for a rude awakening, because both of these films just don't work the way that they should work. If I had to say which one I preferred, I'd probably say the producer's cut, because in my head it does explain things better, even though it doesn't fully explain them. The performances in this movie are really good, especially Paul Rudd, considering it's his first movie. He literally, I want to say I read somewhere that he was reading the script for Clueless on the set of Halloween 6, which I think that's really funny. And but yeah, so Halloween 6, not a great flick, not a terrible flick, somewhere in the middle. Better than Halloween 5. I think Halloween 6 is probably the 5th best film in the franchise. So yeah, I'm your host, Cinema Kane. If you enjoyed this review, please don't forget to hit that like icon. Don't forget to click the subscribe and of course the bell notification, so you know every time Cinema Kane has a new review coming up. So I hope you enjoyed this review of Halloween 4, 5, and 6, the Thorn Trilogy, and I'll see you at the video store.